Gaffer, the season's come to a conclusion. Positive way to sign out against Port Vale on Sunday.
Yeah, it was. We spoke at the end of the season the last couple of weeks about going out on a high and justifying the course of the season with some good results, and to finish on a very good win was a good way to bookend the season. We started with a win and finished with one, and I think a lot of the football and results in between were excellent. I think when we sat down last summer after promotion and we spoke about establishing ourselves at League One level, I think if we'd been offered top 10 finish, and introducing some young players into the squad, I think everyone would have been delighted with that. So this is the time to assess the season. I didn't want to do it when there was 3 or 4 games left. We had to see where we finished, and how we finished, and how the players did. And I think they all, like I said after the game, they all deserve a pat on the back, because it's been a tough season for us and we've had setbacks along the way. But I always felt that the spirit and the mentality of the squad always responded in the correct way, and were very positive in their work, and it was just a successful season for us. And we know with a little bit of luck, a little bit more quality in the attacking third in certain games, we could have bettered it and gone further. But I do believe after 46 games you are where you deserve to be for whatever reason. And I think 10th for our first season for this club is a great achievement by everyone involved. So I sit pleased, but we know there's a lot of work and improvement to go continually throughout this club.
The core group of the players have been together for the last 2 years. They've got promotion from Wembley, they've gone into League One and played extremely well. So they've been a great group of lads. They've
been superb. Honestly, we've obviously had ups and downs as in results. I've had my disagreements with individuals over the course of 2 years, because we all want to win, and that is football. And if it was any other way, I'd feel there was something strange. I think sometimes conflict and disagreements is part of life, and I like my environment to be competitive and people desperate to win, and that's been the case. But I can count the amount of fallouts with players. Well, I can't even remember one where I fell out properly and not spoke to them. It's been a flash in the pan, and then we get on with work, and that's testament to the players' attitude. I think they were a group of men, which is important, and they took whatever we said as a staff on board and strive to be better. I think when we set out remodelling the squad 2 years ago, we looked at players who could, we didn't want to change. We obviously wanted promotion from League Two, but we didn't want to have a major overhaul of the squad at that point to then compete in League One. So we brought in players that we felt could help us get out of League Two, but then kick on again in League One and have very little turnaround, and that's worked out exactly how we wanted it to be. The players came in, we won promotion. That was the target from League Two. Fantastic season, fantastic day out at Wembley, and then we kicked on this season and started the season very well with virtually the same group of players, with a couple of additions, and maintain a very good position throughout the course of the season. I think we only spent 2 weekends out of the top half, and we flirted with the playoffs on and off throughout the season, and like I said, finishing top 10 I think is a fantastic achievement by all those players, and every single one of them that was that took part in the games, and including loan players and players that didn't play as much as others. They've all contributed to putting this club on the map as a very good League One team.
Today we're announcing our retained list. Have you got an update to share on that?
Yeah, well, we had to make very tough decisions as we have done in the last 3 summers, it's one where this was slightly different. Before, when we've released players, we didn't think they were the players that would good enough for what we wanted to do, you know, for various reasons, or where we want to go, you know, notwithstanding what they did for the club before. But this summer has been a slight change of decision making because of where we want to go and need to go as a club, as in remodelling the club, restructuring the recruitment process and who we recruit, as in the age of the players, the cost of the players, because with experience and quality, you know, that costs, and we're working with a stricter budget next year to put plans in place. You know, obviously we're moving to the training ground, the new training ground. We want to put a plan in place that can sustain this club for years to come without relying just on the chairman's contributions. You know, it's important that it runs well as a business. You know, obviously the club wouldn't be here without the chairman. You know, he's put a lot of money behind it. But I think a time comes in a club's history or progression that it has to be able to stand on its own 2 feet as much as it possibly can, and that's behind, you know, some of the decisions we've had to make this summer. You know, we still want to be a competitive League One team next year. We still want to improve the individuals we have and the team. But we do have a certain profile of players that we want to bring in, and we want to try and increase the value of the squad and the possible potential of you know, of players being moved on to higher levels. Now we have to do our work hard and conscientious to try and get those players in. But you know, there was some very tough decisions for us to make. You know, when you're talking about the lads of the calibre of Mark Roberts and David Ball and Steve Schumacher and the like, these have been fantastic players for the club and for me, and they've helped me at the early stage of my managerial career along the way, you know, and improve as a manager. They've been fantastic people around the club. You know, when we brought in, you know, Robbo especially, we'd heard great things about him as a leader, as a captain, as a player, and we wanted to put a certain environment in place into the club, into the change room and on the training pitch, and Robbo was the catalyst for that, and the one who set the example, and you know, that was a extremely tough conversation I had with him on Monday for what he'd done for me personally as my captain and for the club, and you know, I wanted him to lead the team out one more time in the last game on Sunday, and for him to score the winner was a fantastic and fitting tribute for him to go out on that, because he came in scoring in our first win of the season 2 years ago, and he scored the winner in his last game. And you know, there's others, you know, David Ball, who's been fantastic for us. You know, he was here before my time, but a fantastic lad, and really unfortunate with a couple of injuries that he had, that he would have scored a lot more goals. But and there's others I can talk about, you know, the likes of Steve Schumacher, Jeff Hughes and others. It's they've all played a massive part in establishing this club in the league, and we know they'll go on to good things. They're good players, they're good men, and you know, they'll always be friends of me personally and of the club, because you know, their contribution to this club is set in stone, and you know, I'd like to think of them in that way, and we genuinely wish them all the best, and we know they will go on to good things.
Going to players that have been offered new contracts, have you got an update on that situation?
Yeah, we've obviously we've got a new number of players under contract anyway for the forthcoming season. We offered terms to Nathan Pond, Stevie Jordan, Gareth Evans, Tyler Forbes, and Jamil Matt. Obviously after his injury, we're hoping he'll be back for pre-season. So hopefully those boys will re-engage and be with us next season. And obviously we need to look into the recruitment now for next season and for the future of this club. You know, it's the club's at an important crossroads in its history, as in moving to the training ground, and competing at a level it's not competed at before. I do believe it takes more than 1 year to establish yourself in any level of football, and we've had a very good season this season, but the work will be just as hard. It possibly might even be harder next season because we have established ourselves as a decent League One team, so I think that respect factor from the opposition will be there. And we obviously have to hit the ground running if possible, because we've done that in the last couple of years and it's kept the momentum up for the rest of the season. So it's an exciting time, I feel, for the club looking ahead, but it will be a change of if you look into the club, into the depth of the club and the personnel, there will be a change on that side.
Going forward now, over the summer months, what's the plan for you, for the team, for these next 2 months before pre-season starts again in July?
Well, we've spoke to the players under contract this morning about making sure they have a proper rest, because they've worked extremely hard over the last 2 years. They've had a short break last summer, with getting to the playoff final, and the rigours of League One have been tough. So it's important that they get proper recovery into that. I think the other one is Conor McLaughlin, who's obviously going to be playing for Northern Ireland right into June. So it's important that he comes back in a good way. He's going to have a short break again, but that's great. It means success for him. Being still involved at international level, we've just spoken to him about what's expected to come pre-season. There'll be competition for places, as there always is. There will be new rivals. But moving to the new training ground, it'll be a great chance for us to really progress as a team and as individuals, because it'll give us more coaching time with the players, which we need. And I think it's just an exciting time again. Even though we've played at this level for 1 year, it's still the excitement of going again and matching what we've done this year will be a challenge for us. So everyone's looking forward to that season, but it's important that we review this season and enjoy it. But then, obviously once the work starts again, we're looking on the progression of the club. We'll be doing a lot of work over the summer, obviously, sort of moving really from our base here at Fleetwood up to Pulford, and obviously the recruitment that we have to do over the coming months to make sure we're as competitive as we were this year.
Finally, just conclude with the supporters. They've been fantastic throughout this season. They were in the numbers again at Port Vale on Sunday. I'm sure they'll be back in force in July for them pre-season friendlies. Yeah,
they will, and I think there's going to be some decent fixtures for us there, and for the supporters to come and watch us, and they will be seeing a few new faces, which I think is always an exciting time for a supporter. But the support's been there over the season, and they've seen, we've had our ups and downs. The team, as the supporters, have felt that frustration when we haven't won all the games. But I think at the end of it, speaking to supporters after the player year do and since then, I think they see the bigger picture and see that the size of our club and competing at the top end of League One is a fantastic achievement, and I think they're really pleased with the progress of the club, and we're going to need that support next season, because there will be setbacks along the way. We will get beat along the way, but it's important that they know that the players, the staff, are all working their socks off to make this club better, and that will be the case next season. But their support is paramount for us. No club survives without its support base, and we need them with us every step of the way, and it's the only way a successful club will continue to be successful, and that's with everyone pulling in the same direction. So we know they'll be there with us again next season, and hopefully we can justify that support by having another positive season like we did this one.
Thank you, Gaffer.
Okay, cheers.